The woman's husband passed away in a traffic accident, leaving behind a huge amount of debt. They also moved into a rundown rental apartment. Jenny could no longer hold herself together. If Mom had not married a man like that who tricked people, we would not have ended up like this. Soon the woman rented a small stall at the local market. While taking care of her newborn youngest daughter, she sold simple food to make a living. The sensible Kevin would come to the market whenever he had free time, to help Carrie share the burden of caring for the baby. But because Carrie did not recover properly after giving birth, she would break into cold sweats every night from back pain. Kevin, sleeping next door, could hear his mother's painful cries, feeling deeply guilty and heartbroken. That day he came to the market as usual and carried his sister home, reminding his mother to take good care of her health. But just after he left, Carrie collapsed to the ground. When Carrie was taken to the hospital, the doctor told Kevin that her heart condition was very serious, and continuing to overwork could put her life at risk. Carrie pretended to stay strong and told Kevin not to worry, saying that once the treatment was done she would be fine. Kevin looked at his mother, who was so weak, and quietly made an important decision. Soon he found the boss he used to work for delivering milk part-time, quit the job and received a decent amount of money. Right after that, Kevin went to a herbal medicine shop and told the doctor all of his mother's symptoms. Then he took out the money he had just gotten, asking the doctor to use the best medicine available. That night he also bought high-quality beef, thoughtfully grilling meat for his younger siblings. While holding Nina, he fanned them to keep the bugs away. Kevin looked at the two of them with deep reluctance in his eyes. When night came and Sunhai returned home, she noticed a letter and a box of supplements on the table. At that moment Kevin had already boarded a long-distance bus, and Carrie, who could not catch up with him, returned home in despair. Jenny took out the letter Kevin left and handed it to her mother. Sunhai could no longer hold back her grief, and cried uncontrollably in front of the two children. Meanwhile, Kevin found the older man he once sold medicine with, planning to work with him again to make money. The man was also very happy about Kevin's return, but every night Kevin would look up at the sky, missing his mother and his younger siblings. Nina must be able to talk by now, because he was used to carrying Nina on his back. Even when sleeping, Kevin would place a pillow behind him, otherwise he would feel an empty space behind his back. During the time Kevin was away, Carrie never stopped trying to find him. To Carrie, Kevin was her family. Family is something that can never be let go. That day Carrie took the transfer record Kevin sent and went to the bank, asking if there was any way to find the source of the transferred money. This boy is so mature that it makes people ache for him. He works hard and sends living money to his mother every month. With the help of the bank, his mother Carrie finally found where the money was sent from. She found her oldest son selling goods in the noisy market. Seeing the anger on his mother's face, Kevin strangely felt a bit happy. This was the first time his mother had ever hit him. Kevin rushed into Carrie's arms. This was also the first time Kevin called her mom. At that moment he truly felt the happiness of having a mother. The two of them got on the bus heading home. Carrie and Kevin leaned against each other in quiet happiness. Even without a blood connection, they were family for life. Watching the scenery along the way, they slowly fell asleep. But after falling asleep, Carrie never opened her eyes again. Kevin could not hold back and cried out loud. The person he loved most had left him once again. At the memorial, Jenny and Kate, because of their mother's passing, released their grief toward Kevin. If Mom had not gone to look for him, this would not have happened. Jenny collapsed onto the ground. She questioned Kevin about why he left home. Even if I dislike you, we still could have lived together. After it ended, the older man pulled Kevin aside and asked what he planned to do next. With your ability, you cannot take care of 3 younger siblings. But Kevin said he would handle everything himself. After returning home, Jenny refused to let Kevin enter, speaking in anger and driving him away. Kevin picked up the ballet shoes from the ground and waited there until night fell. Even when heavy rain began, he kept standing there. Kate could not bear it, and with Jenny's silent approval, he opened the door and walked outside. Kate reached out and held Kevin's hand. Kevin finally broke down and hugged his brother while crying. Jenny inside the house heard their conversation and could not stop tears from falling. Without their mother, they truly had to grow up together.
To raise his 3 younger siblings, Jun-soo worked 3 part-time jobs every day. In the early morning, he delivered newspapers. During the day, he carried his baby sister on his back while selling milk. At night, he cleaned public bathhouses. When he saw his little sister sleeping soundly, all the fatigue from the day seemed to disappear. Jun-soo swore that he would definitely raise his siblings until they were grown. However, all those efforts received no recognition from Jinju. She told her younger brother that those things were simply Jun-soo's responsibility, so they didn't need to feel sorry for him. That evening, Jun-soo gave his siblings some pocket money. Hyun-suk said that it was more than before. Jun-soo replied that his business had been going well lately, so he gave them a little extra. Jinju said nothing, just took the money and went back to her room. Then, Jun-soo took out a teddy bear to give to Nari, but Jinju objected, saying that street shops were dirty, and at the very least, it should be washed clean before giving it to the baby. So Jun-soo washed the teddy bear thoroughly before handing it to his little sister. Although the bear was no longer as pretty as it was at first, it was clear that Nari was truly happy. After that, he carried his little sister outside, singing softly to lull her to sleep. This was also the happiest moment of Jun-soo's day. Time passed quickly, and Jun-soo, once a small boy, had grown into a handsome young man. One day, while Jun-soo was working at a construction site, an older lady came to tell him that his younger brother had gotten into a fight at school. Although his brother's test scores were the highest in the whole school, the teacher didn't care at all, because the parent of the second-ranked student was a very famous tycoon in the area, and the teacher wanted to stay in his good graces. At that moment, another student walked over and said to Kyung-tae, "You're really amazing. You ranked second in the whole school." Upon hearing those words, the expression on the tycoon in Pyo's face immediately turned stern. The teacher standing beside him spoke up in defense of Kyung-tae, insisting that he had worked very hard. However, In-pyo didn't care at all, and turned to scold his own son instead. Soon after, Kyung-tae went to find Hyun-suk to vent his anger. He said, "The son of a swindler like you must have cheated to get first place, and that older brother of yours who works at a construction site, poor trash like you two will never amount to anything." Hearing him insult his brother like that, Hyun-suk lunged forward and punched him. The two boys began fighting each other. At that moment, while Jun-soo was tightening bolts at the construction site, an older lady came and said, "Your younger brother is fighting with a classmate at school." Hearing this, Jun-soo immediately ran off. Not wanting his brother to lose face, he even stopped outside the classroom door to straighten his clothes before going in. Although it was clear that Kyung-tae had started the fight, the unpleasant teacher still claimed that Hyun-suk was the one who provoked it. Fortunately, In-pyo had no intention of pursuing the matter further. Otherwise, Hyun-suk might have been punished by the school. Jun-soo knew his younger brother well, so he firmly stated that his brother was not that kind of person. Upon hearing this, In-pyo's expression suddenly grew serious. Outside, Hyun-suk said to his brother, "I thought you wouldn't believe me." Kyung-tae, sitting in the car, watched the two brothers through the window and thought to himself that things wouldn't end so easily. That evening, to celebrate his younger brother for ranking first in the exam, Jun-soo deliberately decorated his workplace a little. He then invited a few of Hyun-suk's friends over to celebrate. However, unexpectedly, Kyung-tae showed up uninvited. As soon as he entered the room, he began provoking Hyun-suk, saying that the teacher had a special gift for him, and even mentioned, "It's lucky for you that you have an older brother who isn't related by blood. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be in school." Hyun-suk was so angry that he nearly crushed the soda can in his hand. Not wanting to ruin everyone's mood, he said, "Let's go outside and talk." He had no idea that this would be the worst decision of his life. Just then, a few guests came in and announced that someone was fighting outside and that the police should be called immediately. Realizing that something was wrong, Jun-soo hurriedly ran out. Meanwhile, Hyun-suk pushed Kyung-tae away, but suddenly sensed that something was wrong. After his younger brother left, Jun-soo ran over to where Kyung-tae was. He was about to ask what had happened, but unexpectedly, Kyung-tae collapsed. Jun-soo froze when he saw the pile of sharp nails behind the boy. Seeing the blood covering his back, he became even more terrified. At that very moment, the sound of police sirens echoed in the distance. He recalled what his mother had once told him. "My son, no matter what happens to our family, you must never let go of each other's hands." At once, Jun-soo smeared the blood on his own hands onto his clothes. All of this was witnessed from afar by his little sister, Nari, and so, Jun-soo was sentenced to 12 years in prison, but he felt no regret at all. At that time, Jinju also came to visit him. She told him that they shouldn't see each other again, because she didn't want anyone to know she had a brother who was a murderer. It was the first time Jinju had ever called him brother, but tragically, it happened under such circumstances. To support the family, Jinju had no choice but to quit school and start working to earn money. Jun-soo spent 10 long years in prison in place of his younger brother, but what he received after his release was only cold rejection from his own family. At last, Jun-soo found where his 3 younger siblings were living. While standing outside the gate, he happened to meet his little sister again. After 10 years apart, neither of them recognized each other. Jun-soo asked if her name was Nari. The girl was surprised and asked how he knew her name. At that moment, Hyun-suk also came out. Seeing his younger brother all grown up and mature, Jun-soo was so overwhelmed with emotion that he couldn't hold back his tears. After that, the 4 of them went inside the house together. Jinju was the first to speak harshly. She asked why he had appeared in front of them again. Hadn't they already severed all ties? Jun-soo said he just wanted to see how everyone was doing, but before he could finish, Jinju interrupted and said that since he had seen them, he could leave now, couldn't he? Jun-soo had no choice but to leave reluctantly, but Nari ran after him. She handed him her small savings and said that they shouldn't meet again. She didn't want others to know she had a brother who was a murderer. After saying that, she burst into tears and ran back into the house. Junsu realized that his 3 siblings were living well, so he decided he would no longer disturb them. The next day, Junsu went to the bank to take out his savings book, intending to withdraw 20,000 won in cash. It was the money he had earned from his prison work. The bank clerk advised him to make a card so it would be more convenient to withdraw money in the future. However, Junsu directly refused, saying that he preferred inconvenience, thinking to himself that this way, he wouldn't have to spend any extra money. After withdrawing the money, the first thing he thought of was filling his empty stomach. To save money, he only ordered the cheapest kimbap and drank the free soup. He kept eating until the shop owner grew annoyed, and only then did he stop. However, to make himself feel full, he picked up the water jug beside him and poured glass after glass, gulping it down. After that, he took a bus to look for a job. Perhaps because his stepmother had died on a bus, the moment he got on, Junsu began to feel nauseous. In the end, he had to get off and vomit everything he had just eaten. He then pulled himself together and went to the place where he had applied for work. However, when the lady in charge learned that Junsu had been in prison, she didn't even wait for him to explain. She simply said she had already found someone else and told him to go home. As Junsu wandered aimlessly down the street, unsure what to do, he happened to meet an uncle at the market. The man introduced him to a job moving clothes at the marketplace. Just as Junsu resolved to work hard, he was accidentally hit by a car. The young woman hurriedly got out of the car and asked if he was okay. Junsu assured her that he was fine. Even after being hit, he quickly stood up and continued working, because this was his first job, and he didn't want to lose it. But Junsu had no idea that this woman would end up entangled with his life forever. The next day, while Junsu and the uncle were transporting clothes for the shop, they happened to run into the same woman who had hit him the day before. After hearing the uncle talk, Junsu realized that this woman was actually a very influential figure in that shopping center. She not only knew 8 different languages, but also owned many large clothing stores like this one. Hearing that, Junsu was utterly astonished. However, the uncle immediately objected, warning Junsu not to be bewitched by her appearance. He explained that everyone around here called her the devil. To customers, she seemed like an angel, but to her employees, she was extremely strict. No one had ever lasted under her management for more than a month. Even so, Junsu didn't believe what the uncle said. He thought that if he ever had the chance, he would like to follow her and learn something from her. That chance came unexpectedly and quickly. This man, who had taken the blame and spent 10 years in prison for his younger brother, was later driven out by his own family after being released. Left with no other choice, Junsu had to work hard to survive. No matter how exhausting the labor during the day, every night he would go to visit his siblings, and in those moments, he felt true happiness. The next day, when Jinju went outside to get the newspaper, she saw bottles of milk and fruit placed near the gate. Without thinking much, she knew they were gifts from Junsu. She picked up the watermelon and smashed it on the ground to show her anger. At that moment, Hyun Sok also came out. The moment he saw it, he knew these were things sent by Junsu. To stop Jinju from wasting food, he picked up the box of milk from the ground and said he would take it over to give to the elderly neighbor. They had no idea that Junsu had worked so hard to afford those gifts. At that moment, a customer came to Duzi's store and asked her to shorten a pair of pants. Unfortunately, the seamstress suddenly had a stomachache and had to leave. While Duzi was troubled, unsure what to do, Junsu, who was standing nearby, offered to give it a try. His words left Duzi momentarily speechless. She was skeptical about what he said. But then, Junsu demonstrated his skill. His precise and professional movements amazed everyone. He even finished the job half an hour earlier than promised, and the customer was very satisfied with the result. After the job was done, Duzi brought him a drink to thank him and asked how much he wanted to be paid for the day. To her surprise, Junsu refused to take any money. He said he hoped to work at her store. He told her that every day he saw her speaking different languages with customers, and he wanted to learn from her. However, Duzi thought it would be inappropriate for a man to work in a woman's clothing store, so she said it would be better for him to just take the payment. But Junsu insisted. He only asked for 1 day to prove himself. If he failed, he would give up. Duzi could only nod in agreement to his request. The next day, when Duzi arrived at the store, she saw customers being attentively served and felt very pleased. She had finally found an employee who met her expectations. At the end of the day, Junsu went to ask Dozi if he could come back to work again tomorrow. Unexpectedly, Dozi told him that he had been officially hired. After all, who could refuse such a skilled employee? A few days later, Dozi discovered something unusual. That day, just like always, after finishing his meal, Junsu returned to hand the receipt to Dozi. She noticed that he never spent more than 5,000 won on any meal, and each time, he chose the cheapest kimbap on the menu. This made Dozy very curious. She told him that occasionally spending more than 10,000 won wasn't a problem. Besides, his skills were exceptional, and his sewing technique was outstanding, so why did he have to be so hard on himself? But Junsu simply said, "Can I choose not to answer that?" That only made Dozy even more curious. If someday she found out that she had fallen for a man who was once convicted of murder, how would she react? One day, a married couple happened to walk past Dozy's store. The wife saw the beautiful clothes on display and asked her husband to buy her an outfit, saying that she hadn't bought any new clothes in 3 years. Unexpectedly, the husband became furious and scolded her, saying that since she already had a child to carry around, she didn't need new clothes. Understanding the woman's feelings, Junsu took out an outfit and told her it was a gift for mothers. He explained that the clothing had minor defects, so there was no need to pay for it. Dozy quickly rushed over and asked what he was trying to do. To her surprise, Junsu quietly told her that the cost of the outfit could be deducted from his salary. The husband standing nearby sensed something was wrong and angrily grabbed Junsu by the collar. Seeing what was happening, Dozy quickly called the police. However, before Junsu could even explain, the husband punched him hard in the face. Convinced that Junsu and his wife were having an affair, Dozy tried to run over and stop him, but the husband shoved her aside and continued beating Junsu. No matter how much the man punched and kicked, Junsu didn't fight back. Fortunately, the police arrived in time to stop the altercation. The officers asked Junsu if he was okay and said they would take the husband to the station, wondering aloud how someone could assault another person so recklessly. Hearing that Dozy intended to press charges, Junsu quickly said, "I'm fine. There's no need to go to the police station." Afterward, he still handed the outfit to the woman as a gift. Uncle Manzone was puzzled as to why Junsu acted that way. In truth, Junsu was afraid that his criminal record would be exposed. Later, Dozy brought some medicine to treat his injuries, but when her fingers brushed against his jawbone, Junsu suddenly felt nauseous. He pushed her away and ran straight outside. This made Dozy think that she must be ugly. The uncle hurried after Junsu, asking what was wrong, thinking perhaps his head had been damaged in the fight. Helplessly, Junsu had to tell the truth. It turned out that after 10 years without any contact with women, he now felt sick just from being touched by one. That night, Dozy asked him why he hadn't fought back. Junsu explained that if he had retaliated, then even if the woman jumped into a river, she would never have been able to prove her innocence. Dozy looked at the man before her with quiet concern. The next day, Junsu still arrived early to clean the glass doors at Jinju's workplace. Because of him, Jinju was often praised by her boss, though she had no idea who was helping her. That day, Jinju accidentally saw Junsu. She walked up, snatched the cleaning cloth from his hand, and threw it to the ground. She demanded to know why he was appearing in front of her again. Hadn't they agreed never to meet? Junsu replied that he only wanted to help her with a few small chores, so she could have more time to rest while working. But Jinju refused. She said that just thinking back to the days when the whole family was together made her feel sick. Those words pierced Junsu's heart like thousands of knives. He never imagined that the days he had cherished as the happiest of his life were the very ones Jinju despised the most. In the end, he decided he would never bother them again. After that, he went to visit his parents' graves and gazed at their photo. Unable to hold back his emotions any longer, Junsu broke down in tears. Just then, a familiar voice sounded. It was Nari, who had also come to visit their parents. The two sat down on a nearby bench, and Nari showed him the list of awards she had received. When Junsu saw Nari's name displayed on the phone, he was so overjoyed that he jumped around excitedly. In truth, Nari had her own reason for coming. She wanted Junsu to represent their family and attend the award ceremony with her. If Jinju went, she feared her sister would take all the prize money. However, Junsu refused, knowing that Jinju was Nari's legal guardian. He believed such matters should rightfully be handled by her. To earn money for his sister's education, Junsu chose to work 18-hour days, hoping to save up as much as possible to send to her. That day, Junsu was doing his usual job selling clothes. A female customer kept haggling, trying to lower the price, but Junsu firmly refused. The woman then stepped closer and began acting coy to persuade him. Instinctively, Junsu pushed her away. The uncle standing nearby was startled by his reaction. Dozy also scolded Junsu, saying he shouldn't have behaved that way. Feeling deeply sorry for what had happened, Junsu apologized and left the store. While he was gone, the uncle explained everything to Dozy. He told her that Junsu hadn't interacted with women for 10 years, so now, even the slightest touch from a woman made him feel nauseous. He added that the same thing had happened before when she applied applied medicine to his wounds. Hearing this, Dozy was astonished and couldn't believe that someone could actually be allergic to women. At that moment, Jun-soo returned. Feeling that his condition made him unsuitable to continue working at the store, he requested to quit. However, Dozy couldn't bring herself to let go of such an exceptional employee, so she decided she would help cure him instead. At lunchtime, the two of them went to a room to begin the treatment process. First, Dozy slowly raised her finger and touched Jun-soo's hand. He immediately reacted. Seeing that his reaction wasn't very strong, Dozy reached out and held Jun-soo's hand. Unexpectedly, he couldn't hold it in any longer and ran straight into the restroom, leaving Dozy alone. The next day, under Nari's persuasion, Jinju agreed to come to the company to attend the award ceremony. Unexpectedly, the company that gave the award to Nari turned out to be the company of Dozy's grandfather, and Dozy herself was also a well-known female expert. At the meeting, Jinju said she wanted her younger sister to go to college through studying, not by taking shortcuts like this. Therefore, this time, she only came to express her gratitude for everyone's goodwill. However, when Jinju found out that her sister had taken promotional photos, she asked what the advertisement's title was. I ranked last in the class. Jinju was so furious that she almost wanted to flip the table right there. At that moment, the chairman also spoke up. He said he would pay attention to Nari's studies and assured Jinju that he would call her teacher every week to ask about her academic performance. He continued on to the next topic, saying that they would model the shoot after Nari herself and create a student-themed concept for her, then asked if Jinju thought it was fine. Hearing that, Jinju could only nod in agreement. On this side, Jun-soo didn't see any trace of Dozy all day, so he couldn't concentrate on work at all. He even mistook a stranger on the street for her. Finally, when night came and Jun-soo had just seen off the last guest, Dozy appeared behind him. Jun-soo felt extremely happy. He had been worried that something bad might have happened to Dozy. He was so emotional that he grabbed her by the shoulders. Seeing this, Dozy was very happy, because it meant his condition had improved. That evening, the two went to a park. Dozy suggested they have a running race. Whoever came in last would have to buy dinner. Hearing that, Jun-soo said he had long legs, so it wouldn't be fair to her. Dozy agreed, and said it really wasn't fair. Then, she proposed that she would run half a lap, while Jun-soo would run a full lap. That way, it would seem fairer. After agreeing, they began running. When Jun-soo was about to overtake Dozy, she suddenly reached out, grabbed his shirt, and pulled him back. Dozy won the race and was as happy as a child getting candy. Jun-soo stood beside her, laughing at her joy. His hearty laughter left Dozy staring blankly at him. This man had served a 10-year prison sentence in place of his stepmother's son. However, the stepmother's daughter regarded him as an enemy. Jinju told Jun-soo that all he needed to do was live his own life well. But Jun-soo's life had always revolved around his younger siblings. Today, while Jun-soo was working, he received a message from Nari. The message said that she was on a hunger strike in protest and was about to die. Seeing the message, Jun-soo immediately ran out, leaving Dozy alone in the store. Then he called Nari from outside. She said she wanted to meet him. Without hesitation, Jun-soo went back inside to ask for leave and rushed straight to meet Nari. He knew that Nari had been fasting for 2 days because of the prize money issue, so he immediately took her to a restaurant to eat. He ordered an abalone porridge set that he normally wouldn't even dare to think about. To make Nari eat happily, he told her to eat as much as she wanted, that he had money. Seeing how worried he was, Nari said, "Even though my sister knows I'm on a hunger strike, she doesn't care at all, only you worry about me." Then she started eating with great appetite. Watching her, Jun-soo smiled with satisfaction. Nari also shared with Jun-soo that she wanted to study at an art school. Hearing that, Jun-soo silently made a decision. After they finished eating and were about to leave, Jun-soo called Nari back and told her he was willing to give her 1,000,000 won for her studies. However, Nari refused, saying that she hadn't accepted him as her brother yet and didn't want to become a burden to him. Then Jun-soo stopped her and said, "I've never had a dream of my own. You all are my dream, so if you fulfill your dream, it means you've also fulfilled mine." Looking at the brother standing in front of her, Nari wondered why there could be such a foolish person, someone who regarded his family as his dream. After that, Jun-soo cheerfully went to the store. Dozy sensed something unusual and asked Jun-soo if he was in love. Hearing that, Jun-soo felt embarrassed, but he didn't reveal that the person she was talking about was actually his younger sister. The next day, Jun-soo brought money to see the principal and asked him to take special care of Nari. The principal also felt awkward because of Jun-soo's politeness. Fortunately, Nari arrived just in time to stop him and pulled him outside. Once outside, Jun-soo truly felt happy because, at last, he could do something for his little sister. Nari then then said, "Mr. Bear is really cool, isn't he?" This made Junsu suddenly remember the past. It turned out his sister had never forgotten that song. Then, Nari made an appointment to meet Junsu again the next day. On his way home, Junsu was just like when he used to score 100 points on a test. So happy that he jumped and punched the air excitedly, not caring about anyone's gaze. That evening, to completely cure Junsu's illness, Dozy took him to the rooftop to play a hand-slapping game. To prevent Junsu from backing down, Dozy used 10,000 won as a bet, aiming to remove his thoughts of giving up once and for all. When the two began playing, Dozy accidentally fell into his arms. The scene left both of them extremely flustered. The stepmother's daughter slapped Junsu and accused him of ruining her life, as well as destroying the life of her younger sister. It turned out that not long ago, Nari had asked Junsu to be her guardian. He had gone to her school to ask the teacher for permission for Nari to take a 1-month leave. When he saw that the teacher was deliberately making things difficult, Junsu stood by Nari's side and spoke on her behalf. In the end, the teacher had no choice but to agree. Afterwards, the two went outside. To thank Junsu, Nari raised her hand, creating an incredibly adorable moment. This was undoubtedly the happiest moment for Junsu. That evening, to make her sister happy, Nari took out her latest test results. When Jinju saw them, she was so emotional that she nearly burst into tears. She couldn't believe that her little sister, who used to be at the bottom of the class, had improved so much. The next day, Jinju brought fresh flowers to thank the teacher. However, she found out that Junsu had helped Nari enroll in an art school. Therefore, she decided to go to the photo studio to look for Nari. Nari, unaware of what was happening, still greeted her sister cheerfully. "Excuse me, may I ask where Nari's school bag and clothes are?" On this side, Junsu also received a phone call from Nari, but when he answered, he realized it was Jinju. After that, the two agreed to meet at the park. As soon as they met, Jinju slapped Junsu. She asked what gave him the right to take Nari to enroll in an art school. She criticized him, saying that if he had that much money, he should keep it for himself instead. Unexpectedly, Junsu replied that it was Nari's dream, and that they needed to believe in her dream. If she didn't try even once, how would they ever know whether she could succeed or not? A person who has been in prison for 15 years like you, what do you even know? If she fails, that kind of pain is something an ordinary person couldn't possibly endure. What do you understand, Junsu? I beg you. Please, I beg you, don't come and disturb our lives anymore. Jinju's words were like knives stabbing into Junsu's heart. On his way back, he walked while crying. This scene happened to be witnessed by Dozy, a man who was usually so bright and positive. Why was he crying on the street like that? What on earth had happened? She didn't dare approach him, afraid to disturb him, so she could only drive slowly alongside him. That night, Jinju recalled the words she had said to Junsu and felt heartbroken. She decided to find her close friend to share her pain. Under the influence of alcohol, the two went too far. The next day, Jinju pretended as if nothing had happened. She said that it was simply because she had been feeling hurt, and he happened to be there at that moment. Nothing more, and he didn't need to think too much about Tet. The friend was also deeply hurt by Jinju's words. In another place, Nari felt very worried because Jinju hadn't come home all night. So she called Junsu and told him that Jinju had found out about her enrollment in the art school. Junsu already knew about it and thought that for now, they shouldn't contact each other anymore because it would only make Jinju angry. After that, Nari took the initiative to meet Jinju. She even apologized to her sister, expecting to be scolded. However, Jinju remained calm and said that she already knew and told Nari to go home. That night, Jinju went into Nari's room. Looking at her younger sister sleeping soundly, she felt heartbroken. Then she picked up the phone on the table. Jinju accidentally saw the text messages between her sister and Junsu. In the messages, Nari wrote, "Do I really need your permission before I can talk to him?" And Junsu replied, "For now, let's stop messaging, because I won't be replying." In her heart, Jinju wondered whether she was truly wrong. Then she went back to her own room, took out her phone, and saved Junsu's number. Kind-hearted Dozy used her own body to help cure Junsu's allergy to women. She even spent her own money so he could take driving lessons. Knowing that he usually felt nauseous when riding in a car, Dozy often walked beside him and chatted with him on the way home. Seeing that Dozy looked hot, Junsu raised his hand to shade her from the sun. Dozy thought that this man really knew how to flirt with women and considered Junsu a master of romance. However, when she saw his innocent expression, she felt that maybe she was just overthinking it. Around midnight, the two finally returned to the store. Wanting to repay Dozy, Junsu took the initiative to ask if there was anything he could do for her. Dozy didn't understand why he asked such a question. So, Junsu explained that he felt she also had emotional scars. While Doozy was unsure how to respond, Mr. Manzone rushed in and reported that it was pouring rain outside. Junsu immediately grabbed her hand and ran up to the rooftop. He even asked Mr. Manzone to watch over the store for them. Mr. Manzone was astonished. It wasn't this guy supposed to be shy around women. Why was he suddenly holding the director's hand and running like that? The two reached the rooftop, and then Junsu slowly placed his hand on Doozy's shoulder. He remembered that Doozy once said she was very afraid of rainy days. To help Doozy overcome her fear of rain, Junsu told her to stretch out her arms and enjoy the rain freely. Then he demonstrated it himself first. Doozy clumsily followed his example. The two of them stood there, bathing in the rain together on the rooftop. Doozy said that she had cried a lot on that rainy day. Lift your face up. That way, you won't know whether what's falling on your face is rain or tears. Curious, Doozy asked Junsu, could it be that you also have unhappy memories of rainy days? Junsu recalled a rainy night from 10 years ago and told Doozy that he had never regretted the decision he made that day. That evening, when Doozy got home and saw her reflection in the window, she wondered when she had started smiling so much. Not long after, the day of Junsu's driving test arrived. Doozy even came to watch in person. She couldn't believe she looked just like a mother waiting for her child. Number 9. Junsu has passed the test. As soon as he learned that he had passed, Junsu immediately ran over to Doozy's side. Meanwhile, ever since developing feelings for Hyunsok, Nari's superior had gone to his place. Unexpectedly, she discovered that Hyunsok was actually Nari's older brother. She hoped Nari could help her. Normally, Nari was quite naive, but this time, she was extremely quick-witted. Very soon, the two women struck a deal. When Nari returned home, she asked herself whether she was selling out her brother for her own advancement. No, the real fool was the one who didn't seize opportunities. The next day, Nari clung to her brother constantly. She wanted Hyunsok to come watch her photo shoot so she could earn her superior's favor. Not long after, Hyunsok brought gifts to visit Nari. Her superior teasingly asked why a prosecutor would come there. In this way, Hyunsok was completely sold out by his sister. To win Hyunsok's affection, Ju Young promised to give Nari more resources. Even as they said goodbye, Ju Young couldn't help but glance at Hyunsok several more times. When she got home and saw the thank you message from Hyunsok, Ju Young was so happy that she screamed out loud. Taking advantage of the moment when Doozy was sound asleep, Junsu took out his sketch pad to draw her portrait. Unexpectedly, while he was drawing, Mr. Manzone discovered him. The noise woke Doozy up as well. Seeing this, Junsu quickly hid his sketchbook. Knowing that he was drawing her, Doozy said she didn't allow him to do so. Then she snatched the sketchbook and took it home with her. That night, she sat down and admired the portrait Junsu had drawn. It was the first time anyone had ever drawn her portrait. This made her incredibly happy. She didn't realize that her heart had already been stolen by Junsu. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the previous photo shoot incident kept upsetting Jinju. Wanting her sister to forgive her, Nari ran into Jinju's room to share some good news. She said that the photography department head had promised to look after her, and that woman was the stylishly dressed lady Jinju had met before. Thanks to Neiris matchmaking, that woman and her brother were now dating. Hearing something good for once, Jinju felt much comforted. Seeing that her sister was no longer angry, Nari immediately ran up, kissed her on the cheek, and wished her good night. After Nari left, Jinju finally smiled. The next day was Nari's birthday. She had thought her sister would prepare a birthday party for her, but when she saw a table full of vegetables, Nari got angry and stormed off. After Nari left, Jinju asked her brother where Nari's birthday present was. Hyunsuk just smiled without saying a word. On this side, because she wasn't satisfied with yesterday's drawing, Doozy asked Junsu to draw another one for her. While he was deeply focused on sketching, a text message suddenly arrived, breaking the atmosphere between them. That evening, when Nari returned home, she saw a table full of delicious food, along with a birthday cake. It turned out that her sister hadn't forgotten her birthday after all. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Jinju said, "Maybe the gift I prepared for Nari has arrived." While everyone was wondering what Jinju's gift might be, Junsu walked in. Earlier, Junsu had suddenly burst out laughing, but right after that, he began to cry as he looked at his phone. His boss, who was nearby, didn't dare to ask what was wrong. It turned out that Jinju had sent him a message telling him that today was Nari's birthday and inviting him to come home for dinner. It had been 10 years since he last came home for a meal. When he got home, the four siblings joyfully sang happy birthday to Nari. Junsu recalled the times when they were children, how they used to celebrate birthdays together like this. As he thought about it, tears began to fall. Then Jinju handed him a pair of chopsticks, perhaps her way of acknowledging him. Nari also reached out her hand, asking for her gift. Junsu's present was a portrait he had drawn of her as a child. Nari was deeply moved. She said that this was the only thing that could preserve the image of her younger days. When she was little, she had lied to her friends, saying that their house had burned down, which was why they no longer had any family photos. Jinju immediately comforted her, saying that Nari was the one their mother loved the most. Jinju also recalled that when they were young, while they were planting flowers, their mother had sprayed them all with a hose. That day had been truly joyful. Then she told everyone to hurry up and eat. Junsu took a sip of soup, but couldn't stand it any longer. He immediately ran into the bathroom. Inside, he hid and cried silently. Outside, Jinju said that if Hyun-sok felt uncomfortable, he could go upstairs. Unexpectedly, Hyun-sok said he wanted to wait for Junsu to come back so they could eat together. A moment later, Junsu came out again. To ease the awkward atmosphere, he started eating like crazy. He praised Jinju's cooking, saying it tasted just like their mother's. The four of them sat together, laughing happily as a family. After the meal, Jinju even brought out some desserts. Nari knew her brother still had to leave soon, so she felt sorry for him. She told him to stay the night, only worrying that her brother and sister might not want that. But, unexpectedly, Hyun-sok also told Junsu to stay. Nari added that it had already been 10 years since he last slept at home. In the end, Junsu couldn't hold back anymore and burst into tears in front of everyone. Meanwhile, Do-zi, worried, called Junsu. "What did you say? Speak louder, director. I'm sorry. I won't be able to return to the store tonight." Hearing that, Do-zi thought Junsu was with another woman, and she felt extremely uneasy inside. That night, Nari carried her pillow into Jinju's room, wanting to sleep with her sister for the night. She asked whether she could continue calling Junsu her brother from now on. Jinju said nothing and just turned away, but Nari could feel her sister's feelings. Finally, Jinju had let go of the burden in her heart. On the other side, Junsu quietly covered Hyun-sok with a blanket. It was something he had always wanted to do. But unexpectedly, Hyun-sok wasn't asleep. He was lying there, recalling the happy memories they once shared as brothers. The next day, while seeing Junsu off, Jinju said that if it hadn't been for that incident, they wouldn't have become like this. She explained that she had done it only to punish him, but she realized that feelings like these couldn't simply be controlled by the desire to punish someone. To repay the kindness and care her brother had given her, she agreed to return him to his younger siblings, saying that he could come home once a week for a meal. After Jinju left, Junsu was so happy that he cried. He had waited far too long for this moment. Meanwhile, since Junsu hadn't come back the previous night, Do-zi had become completely absent-minded. When you find yourself caring too much about someone, don't be surprised. It might mean that you've already fallen in love with them. That day, when Junsu arrived at the store, Mr. Manzone told him that Do-zi was angry. He wanted to call her to explain, but she refused to answer. Mr. Manzone asked him what he had done the night before, but Junsu said that he wanted to explain everything to Do-zi first. Late at night, Junsu finally waited until Do-zi arrived at the store. The first thing he did was apologize to her. Then he said that from now on, he would take 3 hours off every week. Do-zi didn't say anything. She only nodded in cold agreement. That made Junsu very sad. He had clearly planned to tell her everything, but at that moment, Mr. Manzone walked over. In the end, Junsu had no choice but to say goodbye to Do-zi, telling her he was going up to the rooftop to clear his mind. After Junsu left, Mr. Manzone ran over to Do-zi. He asked why she didn't listen to Junsu's explanation. He had also asked him many times, but Junsu insisted on telling her first, so Mr. Manzone felt very curious. After hearing that, Do-zi began to think deeply, then pretended to be free, and went up to the rooftop. She asked what Junsu wanted to tell her. Junsu said that yesterday was the first time in 10 years that he had slept over at his sibling's house. As for the reason why it was the first time, he didn't want to talk about it now. The third person in his phone contacts was his younger sister. Do-zi looked at the man in front of her and suddenly felt deeply heartbroken. She asked why he cried last time, but Junsu didn't answer and only said, "If it rained now, that would be nice." Then Do-zi reached out her hand to wipe away Junsu's tears. She said, "Isn't it raining now? It's raining heavily, so just cry your heart out." Because he didn't want Do-zi to see him crying, Junsu leaned his head on her shoulder. After a while, the two of them sat together and watched the stars. Do-zi slowly rested her head on Junsu's shoulder and said that she wanted to sleep for about 10 minutes. A moment later, Jun-soo tried to wake her up, but no matter how many times he called, she wouldn't open her eyes. Instead, she seemed to fall into an even deeper sleep. Then Do-zi's hand slipped down onto his leg. That moment made Jun-soo feel extremely terrified. He kept calling Do-zi's name. The scene reminded him of the past, when he kept calling his mother but she never woke up. In a panic, he quickly carried Do-zi on his back and ran to the hospital. When they arrived, the doctor said that Do-zi had only fainted due to exhaustion and nutrient deficiency. She would regain consciousness soon. Jun-soo stayed by her side the whole time. Only when she fully woke up did the doctor say that although she was awake, she still needed a full checkup to see how her health was. However, Do-zi said that there was nothing seriously wrong with her body. She knew her own condition best. Then she immediately left the hospital. Jun-soo ran after her and grabbed her hand. He asked why she refused to stay in the hospital, why she had to be so hard on herself. He worried what would happen if she fainted again. Unexpectedly, Do-zi argued back. She asked why he worked 18 hours a day. Was it just to have one meal with his family? She felt that even one such moment could move a person to tears. Why don't you think about yourself a little? Seeing that Jun-soo was still worried about her, Do-zi asked him, "Am I really that important to you?" Jun-soo blurted out, "Of course." Then Do-zi teased him, "You're worried about me only because you're afraid of losing your job, right?" Unexpectedly, Jun-soo didn't take it as a joke. When he heard that, he got angry and immediately walked away. Seeing this, Do-zi shouted that she was in pain. Jun-soo told her to go back to the hospital, but she swore that from now on, she would eat on time, would not overwork anymore, and would not make Jun-soo angry again. Seeing that Jun-soo still didn't agree, Do-zi helplessly explained the reason she didn't want to stay in the hospital. She said that the person she loved most had to stay in the hospital for a very long time, so she didn't want to be hospitalized. Hearing that, Jun-soo finally agreed. Just being able to return home and enjoy a meal with his family was enough to make this man feel content. Today was the day Jun-soo got to return home for dinner. He asked Mr. Manzone to help him at the store, then took Nari to buy groceries. Taking advantage of the chance, Nari teased her brother, calling him a silly brother. Unexpectedly, Jun-soo came closer and whispered to his sister that someone wanted him to be their boyfriend. Nari felt extremely curious, wondering what kind of person would like her silly brother. She even said that before the two of them made their relationship official, she must meet that person at least once. Meanwhile, Do-zi was sitting with Mr. Manzone, asking him about the things Jun-soo had gone through. Why hadn't Jun-soo returned home even once in 10 years? Mr. Manzone wanted to keep Jun-soo's secret, so he started making up a story. He said that Jun-soo once had a love, but before he could confess his feelings, that person got married. Because of that, Jun-soo fell ill with tuberculosis. Due to his illness, he was exempted from military service. After recovering, he came to understand life better and decided to work as a sailor. Hearing Mr. Manzone say that, Do-zi felt deeply heartbroken. At that moment, Jun-soo had just finished preparing a table full of delicious food. Nari tasted a bite and immediately praised how good it was. Jinju also commented that his cooking skills were just like before. Only Hyun-sok kept his head down, drinking soup without saying anything. However, when he noticed the looks on Jinju and Nara's faces, he felt something was wrong. He quickly complimented the food, joking that if he didn't say it was good, would the two of them beat him up. The atmosphere was very harmonious until Hyun-sok's friend suddenly burst into the house. Jinju was startled and stood up, but when Jun-soo asked about his own identity, no one knew how to answer. To ease the awkward atmosphere, Jun-soo could only say that he was a distant relative of the family. However, Hyun-sok suddenly stood up and said that this was his brother. Everyone was shocked that Hyun-sok would call Jun-soo brother in front of others. Then Jun-soo told his friend to sit down and have dinner together. He even gave his own portion of rice to him. Jinju, worried that Jun-soo would be hungry, said that it was his portion. It was the first time Jinju had called Jun-soo brother, which made him very happy. He said that just drinking soup was enough for him. Afraid that he would be hungry, both Jinju and Nari ate only half of their rice, leaving the rest for Jun-soo. At last, Jun-soo had gained recognition from his siblings. After the meal, Hyun-suk said he wanted to walk Jun-soo part of the way. While walking, Hyun-seok asked Jun-soo, "Do you know this is the third time I've called you brother?" How could Jun-soo not know? Ever since he was young, Hyun-seok had always been a man of few words, but Jun-soo felt he could understand what his younger brother was thinking. Very soon, Hyun-seok returned. Jinju immediately stepped forward and hugged him. She felt that her younger brother, who seemed lost before, had finally come back. How could Hyun-seok possibly endure such an affectionate Jinju? He immediately pushed his sister away, saying that she was being too sentimental. "Can't I show a little affection?" lied. "You know I can't stand things like that." Meanwhile, to comfort Jun-soo, Do-zi took him up to the rooftop. Then she slowly reached out and touched his chest, asking asking if that part of him still hurt. After that, Dozy invited Jun-soo to drink with her, and after a while, both of them got completely drunk. In her drunken state, Dozy stood up and questioned Jun-soo. She asked whether he saw her as a woman or not. Unexpectedly, Jun-soo bluntly replied that he would never see her as a woman, because if he did, his heart would only feel sadder. Dozy was confused, unable to control herself, and moved closer to him, but he immediately told her not to be foolish. Trying to keep a bit of sobriety, Dozy invited Jun-soo to dance with her, and so, the two of them danced together, arm in arm, like a pair of fools. The next day, Mr. Manzone came to see Jun-soo. He said that he had made up a story about him. Only then did Jun-soo understand why Dozy had acted that way the night before. However, Mr. Manzone's lie was only half false, because in fact, 10 years ago, Jun-soo did have a girlfriend, but ever since he went to prison, the two of them had never met again. Back to the present, Jun-soo was introducing clothes to a female customer. He kept complimenting her beauty and said that this outfit was made just for her. The customer was flattered to the point of blushing, even going so far as to touch him directly. Standing nearby, Dozy watched, so angry that she felt like her lungs would explode. Before leaving, the customer even invited Jun-soo to go to a bar with her. After seeing the customer off, Jun-soo turned around and saw Dozy's expression, as if she wanted to devour him alive. She slowly walked toward him and asked how he could deceive a customer like that. Jun-soo explained that she had already tried on the clothes, and he was only giving his opinion. Hearing that, Dozy said nothing more and turned back to the cashier counter. That evening, Dozy went to see her stepmother. She asked what it felt like to be in love. Her stepmother replied that being in love feels like being struck by lightning, unavoidable, coming suddenly and unexpectedly. Hearing that, Dozy immediately panicked. She made an excuse that she had something to do and had to return to her room. However, once she was back in her room, she just sat on the floor, thinking about that feeling. But no matter how much she thought, the only person in her mind was Jun-soo. She reminded herself to stay calm. After that, Dozy drove to the store. She asked Jun-soo to meet her on the rooftop and said that in all her 28 years, she had never experienced the feeling of being struck by lightning. But after meeting him, everything changed. Just because of one phone call from him, she immediately rushed over. And it was also because of him that she couldn't sleep. Hearing that, Jun-soo turned away. He didn't want to listen any further. Dozy still wanted to try one more time. She said that she knew there was still a love in his heart that he had held onto for 10 years. Perhaps 10 years wasn't enough for him to forget her, but she was determined to find a way to enter even a small corner of his heart. She declared that from now on, she would be the woman to step into his heart. This man, who once had a criminal record for murder, was rejecting the confession of a beautiful young lady because he feared she would discover his secret. However, Dozy had no intention of giving up. When she returned to the store, her determination only grew stronger. Dozy announced that she would promote Mr. Manzone to a full-time employee. Then she publicly revealed her relationship with Jun-soo. Mr. Manzone was astonished and couldn't believe that these two had become a couple. Hearing that, Jun-soo also felt embarrassed and walked outside. After Jun-soo left, Mr. Manzone asked Dozy, "He has nothing in his hands. What exactly do you see in him?" Unexpectedly, Dozy replied, "Jun-soo is the best man in the world." She even hoped that later on, Mr. Manzone could help bring the two of them together. Mr. Manzone was so moved by her words that he almost burst into tears. At that moment, Jun-soo was also making an important decision. The next day, when the two of them went to a restaurant, Jun-soo said that he would love her the way he plays a game. Perhaps this was the first and also the only chance in his life. Therefore, he would love her with all his heart and enjoy every moment. Dozy didn't understand why it had to be like a game. Jun-soo said that one day, she would definitely come to hate him. Before that day came, he was determined to love her with everything he had. That evening, the two of them chose to go to the cinema for a date. Dozy deliberately picked a horror movie to create some excitement. She intended to use the movie as an excuse to snuggle into Jun-soo's arms, but unexpectedly, every time there was a jump scare, it was Jun-soo who screamed. So how could he even notice Dozy? After much effort, she finally found a chance and decided to lean into his embrace. Jun-soo was so shocked that he didn't know how to react, since it was a comedic scene at that moment. But Dozy didn't care about any of that, and Jun-soo now understood her intention. He slowly placed his hand on his girlfriend's shoulder. At the same time, something was happening on Jinju's side as well. Because of her previous mistake, things had now reached an irreparable point. She collapsed to the ground, feeling hurt and questioning herself. She hadn't done anything wrong, so why did they have to treat her like that? What exactly had she done to deserve such a harsh punishment? Nari, standing outside, heard everything Jinju said. She had never seen her sister break down like that before. After that, Nari went to the place where Jun-soo worked. She told him about Jinju crying the previous day, filled with worry, because she was truly afraid that something serious might happen to her sister. Jun-soo comforted her, saying that maybe Jinju was just in a bad mood, so she locked herself in her room and cried alone. Hearing that, Nari let out a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, the next day, Jinju asked to meet Jun-soo to talk. As soon as they met, she kept criticizing him, saying that everything was his fault, all of it was because of him. If I hadn't treated you that way, hadn't been so cruel to you, things would have been different. After saying that, she turned the blame on herself, thinking that she didn't deserve to have love. Seeing his sister like that, Jun-soo worriedly asked what had happened. However, Jinju had no intention of telling him that she was pregnant. She only wanted to see the man she loved. Meanwhile, Ju-young used a GPS tracker to investigate his whereabouts. Today, when she checked the device, Ju-young found out Hyun-suk's location. She decided to go meet him. Meanwhile, Hyun-suk was preparing with his colleagues to capture a fugitive criminal. Just as he was about to stand up and carry out the plan, Ju-young suddenly appeared, ruining his operation. The criminal immediately sensed that something was wrong. He quickly smashed a wine bottle and grabbed Ju-young. Seeing the situation turn dangerous, Hyun-suk panicked. He hurriedly said that Ju-young was someone he was getting to know, and that they were only there to have a drink. They didn't know anything about what was happening. However, the criminal refused to listen to his explanation. He was certain that they had come to arrest him. Hyun-suk said that he wanted to exchange himself for the hostage, then slowly moved toward the criminal. Unexpectedly, the man went berserk. Ju-young was injured and immediately lost consciousness. Hyun-suk quickly called for an ambulance. Very soon, Ju-young was taken to the hospital. When her family heard the news, they rushed over right away. As soon as they arrived, without caring who was right or wrong, they started scolding Hyun-suk. Ju-young's mother asked why he was with her and why he hadn't protected her. Hyun-suk's colleagues standing nearby couldn't hold it in anymore. He said that it was obvious she had rushed in on her own while they were in the middle of an operation. They knew that Ju-young was injured in the heart, but the exact condition would only be clear after the surgery. Her mother immediately collapsed to the floor, crying loudly. At that moment, Dozy also arrived at the hospital. The moment Hyun-suk saw her, he froze. He had no idea that Dozy was actually the granddaughter of the BI group. A while later, the doctor came out and announced that the surgery had been a great success. The wound had stopped just 1 millimeter away from the internal organs. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. That evening, worried that something might have happened to Dozy, Jun-soo decided to go to the hospital. Unexpectedly, when he arrived, he ran into Hyun-suk. Just as he was about to greet him, he saw Dozy walking toward his younger brother. The moment he saw the two of them shaking hands, he couldn't help but feel surprised. Could it be that his younger brother liked Dozy? At that moment, Jun-soo decided to leave. Walking alone along the wide street, he felt an overwhelming loneliness. Meanwhile, just as Jun-soo had suspected, Hyun-suk was confessing his feelings to Dozy. He expressed that he didn't want to just be friends with her, but wanted to pursue her as a man. Dozy asked, "What about Ju-young? She loves you very much." But Hyun-suk also emphasized that everyone has the right to freedom, and she too has the right to pursue the person she likes. The next day, Hyun-suk secretly went to Dozy's store and happened to meet his older brother, who was working there. The two brothers then went to a restaurant together to talk. Jun-soo asked his younger brother what he was doing there, and Hyun-suk replied that he had heard from Nari that his brother was working here, so he wanted to come and see. When Jun-soo asked about his love life, Hyun-suk said that the person who liked him, he didn't like, and the person he liked didn't like him back. Because of that person, he had become more open and talked more than before. At that moment, Jun-soo became even more certain that the person his younger brother liked was Dozy. After saying goodbye to his brother, Hyun-suk went to Dozy's store again. He quietly stood outside, watching her work. Meanwhile, Jun-soo was walking alone on the street, recalling the words he once said to Dozy. It was he himself who had encouraged Dozy to be more social and make more friends, but he never expected that those very words would lead the woman he loved into his younger brother's arms. Lost in thought, Jun-soo ran wildly down the street. The next day, Jun-soo went to his siblings' house for dinner. Jinju was in charge of preparing the food, while Jun-soo helped Nari practice her lines. That night, before going to bed, Jun-soo kept staring at Hyun-suk. Then he took out the picture of Nari that he had cut out from a newspaper. He said that his dream was gradually, little by little, coming true. However, Hyun-suk asked him whether he didn't feel even a bit of pressure about it. Meanwhile, Nari fell into a nightmare. No matter how many times Jinju called her, her, she couldn't wake up. Jun-soo and Hyun-sok also rushed in to see what was happening. At that moment, Nari finally opened her eyes, immediately threw herself into her sister's arms, and said that she had the same nightmare again. But when Nari saw Jun-soo, she felt that it was him. She exclaimed that she had a feeling it was him. Jun-soo also realized that something was wrong. It seemed that Nari had discovered the secret he had been trying to hide all this time. After comforting Nari to sleep, Jun-soo heard Jinju say that on that night, people had found Nari fainted at the scene. Jun-soo began to feel uneasy. He was afraid that Nari's memory was gradually coming back. On the way back, Jun-soo decided that during this time, he would not return home anymore, because every time Nari saw him, she suffered. He thought it was best for her not to remember that part of her memory. Unexpectedly, when Hyun-sok heard this, he punched Jun-soo straight in the face. He said, "Do you want to keep being a good person forever?" Jun-soo admitted that he shouldn't have come to find them, but Hyun-sok firmly said that it wasn't his fault. Would it mean that if he hadn't appeared, Hyun-sok wouldn't feel guilty anymore? Hearing that, Jun-soo immediately raised his hand and punched Hyun-sok. He said that the person who died was killed, and it had nothing to do with him. At that moment, Hyun-sok also spoke out the words he had kept in his heart for a long time. He admitted that all this time, he had always suspected himself of being the one who hit that person. He didn't understand why Jun-soo had become the one to protect him. Jun-soo told his younger brother to shut his mouth immediately. Why did he want to bring up a case that had already been settled long ago? But Hyun-sok believed that the person who made Jun-soo's life become like this was himself. Hearing that, Jun-soo slowly let go of his hand. Could all his efforts to hide the truth over the years end up being in vain? He didn't know what he should do anymore. The next day, when she woke up, Nari didn't remember anything. Jinju and Hyun-sok also didn't mention what had happened yesterday. After saying goodbye to her two siblings, Jinju went to find her brother. Jinju wanted her brother to go with her to the maternity hospital. She had accidentally become pregnant with the son of a wealthy family. She knew very well that his mother didn't like her at all. Therefore, she decided to go to the hospital to have an abortion. However, the doctor informed her that without a family member accompanying her, he could not proceed with the surgery. Having no other choice, Jinju went outside and called her brother. She wanted her brother to go in with her, and afterward, the two went to a cafe. Jun-soo couldn't stay calm as he listened to his sister talk about her situation. When he found out that the baby's father didn't even know about the child's existence, he scolded her, emphasizing that this was a human life and that the baby had every right to know everything. Jinju unexpectedly replied that when she worked at the hair salon, she heard stories like hers every single day. Now all of them were forced by their mothers-in-law to have abortions, and his mother would definitely act even more harshly than that. Jun-soo could only hold his sister's hand and say that they should think about it more. Surely there would be another way. On the way home, Jun-soo couldn't stop thinking about what to do. A few days later, Jun-soo arranged to meet Jinju. He expressed his wish that she would keep the baby. Even if he had to sacrifice his whole life, he would protect the child. Hearing her brother's words, Jinju also began to waver. That evening, Jinju went to Hyun-sok's room. She said that if in front of her, there were two paths, one ordinary, and the other extremely rough and difficult, which one should she choose? She shared that even though the rough path would be hard to walk, she still wanted to choose that one. Hyun-sok said that they were both very much like their mother. Their mother had never chosen an easy life. Those words from her younger brother made Jinju even more determined in her decision. The next day, Jinju arranged to meet Chul-soo's mother. Right after that, she knelt down and begged the woman to allow her and Chul-soo to be together. However, before Jinju could even mention the baby, the woman threw a glass of water in her face. "I know exactly what kind of woman you are." The woman believed that Jinju had seduced her son on purpose and wanted to climb into a wealthy life. She warned Jinju not to dream, saying that she had worked hard to raise her son so he wouldn't fall into her hands. After saying that, the woman immediately stood up and left. Later, Jinju met Jun-soo and told him about her meeting with her lover's mother, but the result was truly terrible. Jinju felt that the possibility of her becoming a single mother was very high. Jun-soo said that he would definitely become a sailor. That way, he could take care of her and the baby in her womb. He also said that he would try to earn money so that the baby could study abroad. Hearing her brother say that, Jinju was deeply moved. That night, Jun-soo asked Dozy to meet him on the rooftop. He told her about his thoughts. Dozy replied that if he left, she wouldn't know what to do. But Jun-soo said that time would help her calm down. When the mind calms down, the heart also grows cold. After saying that, he was about to leave but was stopped by Dozy. Then, she slowly leaned against Jun-soo's back. She hated him for being so cruel to her, but Jun-soo firmly pulled her hand away, and tears streamed down his face uncontrollably. Unexpectedly, at that very moment, Hyun-suk came up to the rooftop and accidentally witnessed a scene he was never meant to see. The man suddenly realized that the girl he liked actually had feelings for his brother. That moment left him frozen in place. Junsu didn't know how to explain. A while later, the two met in the park. Junsu said, "Brother, forget what you just saw." He also said that he would be leaving this place soon. Hyun-suk understood why. His brother wanted to leave. He said that if the reason he left was because of him, he would never forgive him. After saying that, he immediately stood up and walked away. The next day, although Manzone tried his best to stop Junsu, he was still determined to leave. Before going, he called Jinju to tell her about his plan to become a sailor. He also told her to take good care of the baby in her womb and promised that he would work hard to earn money to buy milk for his beloved niece or nephew. However, for someone with a criminal record like him, finding a job as a sailor was not easy. Every time Junsu mentioned his past, the employers would bluntly reject him. But because of life, Junsu still had to keep trying to find a job to earn money. No matter how hard it would be, he was determined to persevere until the end. Meanwhile, after hearing from Jinju that Junsu wanted to become a sailor, Hyun-suk called him several times, but Junsu refused to answer. In the end, he had no choice but to ask a colleague to investigate Junsu's whereabouts. As for Dozy, she missed Junsu so much that she developed a persistent high fever. When she finally woke up, she picked up her phone, but there were no calls from Junsu. Although she was deeply disappointed, she still believed that he would return soon. However, before any good news could come, bad news arrived again. Because of his obsession with pursuing Dozy, lawyer Lee colluded with the Japanese side to set her up, causing her to become entangled in a plagiarism scandal. Not only did she have to face paying a large amount of compensation, but she was also scolded by her grandfather. The scandal involving Dozy was even reported in the newspapers. While Junsu was working, he accidentally saw the news about Dozy. At that moment, he finally realized that Dozy never had a gambling-addicted father. Everything had been a lie from her. Meanwhile, lawyer Lee easily handled the case related to Dozy's plagiarism and even managed to win the favor of her family. Using a GPS tracker, Hyun-suk followed the signal to the place where Junsu was working. When he arrived, he found Junsu sitting alone, drinking. He asked why Junsu had left. Why did he always make things so difficult for him? If Junsu left, would that really make Dozy look his way? But Junsu didn't want his younger brother to feel conflicted. It took great effort for Hyun-suk to finally call him brother. Junsu didn't want to lose that bond, but Hyun-suk said, "If you truly see me as your brother, then give me a fair chance to compete." He couldn't understand how his brother could run away and make him into such a coward. Hyun-suk's words completely moved Junsu, erasing all distance between the two brothers. After saying goodbye to his younger brother, Junsu returned to that familiar shop. He didn't expect to find Dozy sitting on the sofa. When she saw him come back, Dozy was overjoyed, thinking he had changed his mind. But unexpectedly, he asked why she wasn't at home and was sitting there instead. Dozy immediately realized that Junsu had found out she had lied to him. Yes, it was just a joke. She liked seeing him worry about her, and that was why she did it. Unexpectedly, Junsu bluntly declared that from now on, they would no longer be lovers. Dozy could only cry and agree with him. No matter what, as long as Junsu was by her side, it was enough for her. When a chairman of a wealthy conglomerate personally lowers himself to become the agent of a high school girl, what kind of story would that be? Today, Ju Young brought Nari to the company to meet the chairman. Thanks to Nari's outstanding performance and Ju Young's dedicated guidance, everything was going smoothly. The promotional magazine titled "I'm the Last from the Top" featuring Nari achieved massive sales. "Are you up to some kind of trick? I'm not that kind of careless person," the old chairman said, that it was all thanks to him that Nari had been able to make such progress. Then, he asked her to repay him by taking him out to survey the market. Nari's cuteness and quick-witted nature made the chairman very happy. After that, the two even exchanged phone numbers. Nari wanted him to save her contact as cute girl, while she would save his as Mr. Sang Jin. The next day, the two went out to research the market again. The old chairman asked, "I treated you to sushi, and now you're treating me to this." Nari replied that she was a poor student with no money, while he was a man with plenty of it. Then she asked if the chairman had any wide connections, because she wanted to try applying to a talent agency. In response, the chairman said that he could be her agent himself. He added that he also wanted to meet celebrities in real life. When she asked whether he would take any money, he confirmed that of course, work must be paid. He would take 40%, and she 60%. She immediately refused, saying that her job was much harder. In the end, they decided to split it equally, half for each. And so, the old man and the young girl began their partnership. The next day, while the old chairman was eating, Nari called him. It turned out it was time for the agent to get to work, so he hurriedly ran back to his room. Everyone in the house was astonished, not knowing who had called him. Only Ju Young knew what was really going on. When the old chairman finished changing clothes and was about to go out, he saw everyone lining up. They stood there asking where he was going. He replied that he also also had his own secret. His daughter was worried and reminded him to be careful before saying goodbye. She even thought that her father had found a new love, but that wasn't the case. Since she was a newcomer, Nari had to wait in the recording studio until she dozed off. The old chairman couldn't stand it any longer and wanted to stand up for Nari to demand fairness. Nari told him to lower his voice, but the chairman insisted on seeking justice. The next day, while practicing lines with Nari, the old chairman suddenly asked, "If Nari is acting in this role, then she has to go to the filming set, right?" If that was the case, it meant he would be able to meet Miss Jane. Nari proudly said, "There are many scenes between my role and Jane's." Hearing that, the old chairman smiled brightly. Clearly, he had his own motives. On the filming day, the old chairman was in high spirits all day. He kept approaching and chatting with the actress Jane. Nari showed an annoyed expression, but unexpectedly, the chairman called her over to stand next to him, handed her the umbrella to hold, while he himself took out a paper fan to fan his idol. He said that being able to see his idol every day like this felt just like a dream. At that moment, the director called Jane over to start filming, and the old chairman followed right beside her. Nari really couldn't stand it anymore. She immediately pulled the chairman back and asked him whose agent he actually was. She wondered why, if he liked that woman so much, he didn't just become the president of her fan club. But the chairman replied that he had already joined that fan club. Meanwhile, in order to keep Jun-soo from feeling inferior, Do-ji planned to turn him into the kind of person she wanted him to be. That night, Do-ji shared her thoughts with her grandfather. She even wanted Jun-soo to come to her company to learn. During dinner, the chairman mentioned Do-ji's stepmother. Clean up the room on the top floor. He intended to let Jun-soo stay there. However, no one knew that this stepmother was actually Jun-soo. She had once been a wealthy young lady, but Do-ji fell in love with a man who had a criminal record for murder. For that reason, she decided she would help him change. Today, Do-ji brought Jun-soo to meet a woman, hoping he would become her student. This woman had held a fashion show in Paris at the age of 20, and was now one of the top fashion designers in Korea. However, she didn't want to take Jun-soo as her apprentice. She called herself a genius, and said she hated ordinary people. After saying that, she told Jun-soo to go make her a cup of coffee. Jun-soo went to the coffee station, looked at everything on the table, and didn't know what to do. The woman then told him to come back tomorrow to study. This action was considered an indirect way of accepting him as her student. That evening, to keep Jun-soo from encountering her family, Do-ji arranged for him to stay on the top floor and told him to rest well so he could start learning the next day. However, as soon as she left, Jun-soo was drawn by a sound from outside. When he went out, he saw the old chairman. This was the second time they had met. As soon as Jun-soo opened his mouth, he immediately won the old man's favor. After that, the chairman even taught him how to use a telescope to look at the stars. The next day, during the entire lesson, Jun-soo only sat there drawing circles, while the teacher sat beside him playing with dolls. Occasionally, she would ask Jun-soo to pour her a cup of coffee. Seeing her muttering to herself, Jun-soo didn't dare say a word. Not long after, Do-ji also came to the studio. She asked the teacher whether Jun-soo was also a talented person. Unexpectedly, the teacher denied it, leaving both of them feeling confused. Then, the teacher continued, saying that Jun-soo didn't know how to resist. Whatever task he was given, he did it without any doubt. Hearing this, Jun-soo showed a puzzled expression. But the teacher went on to explain, to be human, one must have a questioning attitude. Only then can new things be discovered. After hearing that, Jun-soo suddenly understood. From that day on, under the teacher's guidance, Jun-soo gradually began to find his own inspiration. At the same time, Do-ji called the teacher to ask about Jun-soo's learning progress. The teacher frankly said, Do-ji doesn't need to worry so much. It won't help him improve any faster. After saying that, she immediately hung up the phone. Then, the teacher opened Jun-soo's recent drawings and smiled with satisfaction. In her heart, she silently made an important decision. That night, with both of them present, the teacher told Do-ji that she had decided to take Jun-soo to Paris. She also emphasized that as long as Jun-soo was determined, he would definitely succeed within 3 years. However, Jun-soo remained silent and did not agree. The teacher kept persuading him, stressing that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Unexpectedly, Jun-soo refused her offer. He thanked her for her good intentions, but said he could not study abroad. Do-ji couldn't understand why Jun-soo wouldn't seize this opportunity. Yet, Jun-soo stayed silent and said nothing. Even without studying in Paris, Jun-soo believed that with his own abilities, he could still succeed. Do-ji thought Jun-soo was foolish, but the real reason was something only he understood. He had tried to leave, but those days had been like living in hell for him. He didn't want to return to those painful times. This woman was facing unexpected circumstances. She was pregnant with the child of a rich heir. In order to gain acceptance from her future mother-in-law, she did not hesitate to kneel down and beg. She only hoped that the baby in her womb could have a complete family, but what she received was a splash of cold water thrown into her face by her mother-in-law. The woman even mocked her, saying she was not worthy to be her daughter-in-law. However, no one expected that this arrogant mother-in-law would, moments later, become a poor woman herself. It turned out that she had been swindled out of all her money. Chul-soo came to see Jinju and said that he had thought it through. He decided to listen to his mother and would no longer get involved with her. In truth, he didn't want Jinju to suffer along with him. After saying that, he stood up to leave. The next day, Jinju went to the hospital for a checkup. When she saw the baby in her womb, she decided that no matter how difficult or exhausting it would be, she would bravely overcome all challenges. So, she brought gifts to Chul-soo's house. When she saw the house covered with official seal stickers, she was terrified. Chul-soo's mother thought that sight would scare Jinju away, but to Jinju, it wasn't frightening at all, because she had been used to such things since childhood. Then she knelt down and begged the woman to give her another chance. Yet Chul-soo's mother remained cold, refusing to even look at her and turning away. Chul-soo couldn't bear to let her suffer like that any longer. He pulled Jinju up and said that he would make her his mother's daughter-in-law. He felt deeply heartbroken. He told her she didn't have to do this, but she told him to be quiet. She even declared that she would come again. That evening, Jinju called Hyun-suk and Na-ri over and announced that she was going to marry Chul-soo. Unexpectedly, the first person to oppose her was Na-ri. Because they knew what kind of person Chul-soo's mother was, they felt that if their sister married him, she would surely suffer. However, Jinju remained firm in her decision. The next day, Jinju went to Chul-soo's house again, but this time, the one kneeling down was Chul-soo. He told his mother that he couldn't live without Jinju. Seeing that she still sat motionless, Jinju also knelt down. She said that she had a house. While Chul-soo prepared for his exam, she could make a living, and would also do her best to take care of his mother. Hearing that she would have free accommodation and someone to serve her, Chul-soo's mother finally agreed. She even said that the lease of this house was about to expire, so they should quickly prepare for the wedding. The next day, Chul-soo's mother and her friend went to the store where Jinju was working. In front of her friend, she deliberately said that she wanted to introduce her son to Jinju. She even claimed that the two of them were a perfect match, which surprised her friend, while Jinju could only nod in agreement. After leaving, her friend asked whether she really had her eyes on the store manager Jinju. Unexpectedly, she began to pretend, saying that she hated this materialistic world. She said she had met many rich girls who knew nothing. She thought it would be better to find a girl from an ordinary family instead. Her friend wondered, then what would others say? But she replied that there was no reason to care about what others thought, as long as she herself was satisfied. Her friend standing beside her could only smile awkwardly. The next day, the mother-in-law had already prepared a gift to give to Jinju. However, receiving this gift from her was not easy. She took out a bill and asked Jinju to pay for the listed items. She also announced that the wedding would be held at a 5-star hotel, and all expenses would be covered by Jinju. Jinju could only remain silent and agree. Not long after, the two families met for a meal. Junsu kept saying that Jinju was a good person, but his mother thought that only after living together could one truly understand. Sitting beside them, Chul-soo tried his best to mediate, but only Junsu knew that Jinju was not happy. After returning to his office, Junsu asked the teacher for help. Then, he personally designed a wedding dress for Jinju. The moment when a woman is most beautiful is when she wears her wedding dress. As Jinju's older brother, Junsu walked his sister down the aisle. The chairman was very surprised when he realized that Junsu was Na-ri's brother. Junsu recalled the past, when his family used to be so happy, and everyone often played noisily in the yard. After all the hardships, the 4 siblings were finally able to live happily together. When he placed his sister's hand into Chul-soo's hand, he couldn't hold back his tears. At that moment, Hyun-seo came to comfort him, but unexpectedly, Do-ji saw them. Through that, she finally realized that the two were brothers. She also understood the reason why Junsu had distanced himself from her. After the wedding ended, Do-ji asked Junsu to meet her on the rooftop. Do-ji asked him, "What exactly do you and your brother want to do? Was it because you wanted to give me up to your younger brother that you insisted on breaking up with me before?" He didn't want to compete with his brother, so he decided to let go. Junsu said that he didn't want to hurt her, because if she ever found out the secret he carried inside, he would have no right to stand by her side. Do-ji had thought she was a rich heiress, and that made Junsu feel inferior. But once she learned the truth, she declared that she would never give up on him. From now on, he must work at the BI group and strive to earn everyone's recognition, proving his worth step by step. However, Junsu had a criminal record, so he knew he was not worthy of someone as outstanding as her. Thus, he decided to reveal the secret he had been hiding for so long. He asked Duzi if she knew why, despite having so many certificates, he still couldn't find a job. Duzi didn't understand why he was asking that, but suddenly Junsu knelt down. He had a criminal record for murder. Junsu apologized for making her fall in love with him so deeply, and he kept apologizing to her. Even though she heard it herself, Duzi still couldn't believe it. She couldn't imagine that a warm person like him could be a murderer. Junsu only said that he had killed someone and served 10 years in prison, but he didn't say that he went to jail in place of his younger brother. When Duzi heard that, she couldn't take it. Her words became panicked, and then she said she needed to calm down before continuing to talk. Then she entered the elevator, leaving Junsu alone. He sat quietly on the rooftop and cried. On her way home, Dozi's mind was filled with Junsu's words. Suddenly, she stopped her car, got out, and sat down crying by the roadside. Dozi didn't know whether she should leave or stay by his side. That night was a night full of pain for both of them. Junsu didn't expect this day to come so soon. The next day, the two met in the park. Dozi told Junsu that the killing and imprisonment were his own doing, and that he should bear the consequences himself. However, the mistakes he made toward her had still not been repaid. Therefore, he had to work even harder. Only then could he do more for her, which could also be considered a way to make it up to her. Junsu agreed with her. Crying, Dozi said that she was afraid she might make Junsu feel inferior, so she wanted to help him become more outstanding. That way, she would have the courage to shout to the whole world that the man she loves is such an exceptional person. But now, because of his criminal record, she had to hide him. This was not what she had ever hoped for. Junsu said that he would use the rest of his life to atone for his sins toward her. She was the prison he could never escape from. After saying that, he intended to comfort Dozi, but as soon as he raised his hand, he stopped because he knew that he was no longer worthy. The next day, Dozi met with Hyunsuk to ask him about what had happened to Junsu 10 years ago. Because of his criminal record for murder, this man had heartlessly broken up with the woman he loved. But someone who truly loves you will never let go because of your past. To find out the truth about that year, Dozi arranged to meet with Hyunsuk. She wanted to know what had really happened in the past. Hyunsuk told her about the day he argued with a classmate. His older brother killed someone only because he wanted to protect him. Originally, his brother could have received a reduced sentence, but the victim's parents were wealthy, so they used their connections to make his brother serve 10 years in prison. Hyunsuk also told Dozi that he and Junsu were not biological brothers. They became family after their parents remarried. Junsu had sacrificed so much for him. Since childhood, Junsu had always thought about his younger siblings, even though Hyunsuk had never called. Junsu, his brother. Junsu was always worried about him. Hyunsuk believed that he was the one who had ruined his brother's life. He begged Dozi to cherish this pitiful brother. After hearing the truth, tears continuously fell from Dozi's eyes. She realized what she had to do. That night, she asked Junsu to meet her on the rooftop. She firmly declared that she would never give up. Even though he had a criminal record, she was not afraid, because the only reason was that she loved him. Although their love did not receive blessings from many people, she believed that they could still be together. He warned her that she would regret it. Later, when she did, it might already be too late. But she believed that as long as they were together, everything would be fine. Meanwhile, Nari also encountered an incident. There was a fighting scene being filmed that day. While Nari was discussing the movie with her assistant, the director suddenly shouted to stop. It turned out that one of the actors had accidentally injured his shoulder on a nail. When Nari saw that nail, she froze. She suddenly remembered that rainy night. She had remembered everything. After that, she called Junsu. When Junsu heard that his sister wanted to see him, he immediately rushed over. During the call, Junsu told Nari that she didn't need to come, that he would go to her instead. But Nari kept murmuring he wasn't the one who killed him. Hearing that, Junsu began to feel uneasy. Step by step, Nari walked toward Junsu, continuously saying, "You didn't kill anyone, so why did you do that?" At that moment, a car sped toward them, but Nari stood still in the middle of the road. Realizing the danger, Junsu quickly rushed forward and pulled his sister away. Fortunately, he managed to save her. Nari said that she had remembered everything, but right after that, she fainted in Junsu's arms. Not long after, the doctor informed them that the patient had suffered psychological trauma and was currently in a coma. The driver said that Nari had been standing dazed in the middle of the road, seemingly talking on the phone with someone. Junsu explained that Nari had been on the phone with him. Jinju asked Junsu what Nari had said to him, but he didn't know how to answer. Only Hyunseok realized that Junsu was hiding something something. Therefore, he asked Junsu what Nari had said, but Junsu still refused to reveal it. At that moment, Chulsu came out and informed them that Nari had regained consciousness. However, after waking up, she didn't say anything and just lay blankly on the hospital bed. The next day, Junsu went to the hospital and asked Nari if she had remembered everything. Nari said nothing, but her face was already covered with tears. Junsu kept apologizing, and Nari emotionally hugged her older brother. She realized that she and her eldest brother were very much alike. Both of them acted out of a desire to do what was best for their middle brother. The two of them hugged each other, their tears silently falling without a sound. All of this was clearly overheard by Hyun-sok, who was standing by the corner of the wall. To confirm his suspicions, Hyun-sok asked the doctor to perform hypnosis on Nari. When the doctor successfully hypnotized her, he asked her what had happened on that rainy night, and Nari recounted everything in detail and with clarity. In the end, Hyun-sok finally learned the truth. At that moment, the doctor warned that if they continued, the patient might not be able to endure it any longer, and advised them to stop. When Nari woke up, she finally had the courage to tell the truth to her second brother. She blamed herself for remembering those terrifying memories, but at the moment her eldest brother ran over, she understood why he had to act that way. After leaving Nari's hospital room, Hyun-suk wandered aimlessly on the street, recalling the events of the past that tormented him deeply. At that time, he had blamed his brother for what he did, but Junsu was moved because it was the second time Hyun-suk had called him brother. Yet at that very moment, Hyun-suk declared that they would sever their relationship from then on. He kept walking until he finally fell to his knees on the ground. Now he didn't know what to do anymore. Nari was afraid that he would do something foolish, so she told Junsu everything. Junsu kept comforting her, saying that Nari would be fine. After that, Junsu left the hospital and sat on the bus. He recalled his mother's words. She had told him that family means those who will never abandon each other no matter what happens. At that time, Junsu had promised his mother that. Tears kept falling from his eyes. Junso had tried his best to live by his mother's words, but now, he didn't know what he could do to make things right for his younger siblings. The next day, Hyun-sok arranged to meet Do-zi. He begged her to help appeal his brother's case, and decided to reveal the entire truth. The real killer was him. Hearing that, Do-zi was completely shocked. Not long after, Junsu received a call from Do-zi. The two agreed to meet on the rooftop. Do-zi said that she already knew everything, and wanted to confirm whether what Hyun-sok said was true. However, Junsu said it had only been an accident. At that time, Hyun-sok didn't even know the victim had died. Then Junsu knelt down in front of Do-zi. He said that at that moment, he had no other choice, because the police were coming, and he couldn't let Hyun-sok be in danger. But Do-zi felt that Junsu didn't trust her. He shouldn't have hidden the truth. She didn't know whether she could continue moving forward or not. After saying that, she left, leaving Junsu sitting there, crying alone. This man had taken the blame for his stepmother's son, and spent 10 years in prison. In the end, the truth was finally revealed. Hyun-sok never expected that this brother, who wasn't related to him by blood, had sacrificed so much for him. That night, Hyun-sok asked his brother to meet him at the park and said, "What am I in your life? Why did you have to bear the charge of murder in my place?" Facing his younger brother's questions, Junsu explained why he had confessed to murder back then. It was because he had always believed that the death of their stepmother was connected to his decision to leave home. Therefore, he had decided to protect his younger brother and take the blame in his place. Suddenly, Hyun-sok knelt down. He said that he had always felt something was strange about what happened that year, but at the time, he was too young and only thought about running away. After saying that, he turned and left, because he already knew what he had to do. The next day, Hyun-suk arranged to meet Jinju. He told his sister everything. After hearing it, Jinju couldn't hold back her tears. Her face was soaked. On her way home, she kept recalling all the arguments she had with her brother, and how she had slapped him more than once. These memories made her feel deeply regretful, so she went to the room Junsu had rented, crying as she said that he was too selfish. In the end, she asked, "What are we to you that made you ruin your own life like this?" Junsu could only apologize. He admitted that he had been foolish in the past. After everything that had happened, he finally realized he had been wrong. Jinju also said, "We never once believed that you were capable of killing someone. Really." After saying that, she apologized to him and left. At that moment, Junsu could no longer hold back his emotions and burst into tears. Meanwhile, Hyun-sok went to the police station to turn himself in for the murder he had committed that year. He wanted to atone for his mistake. He firmly stated that he had beaten that man to death, with the intention of seeking justice for his brother. The prosecutor also understood why Junsu had claimed to be the killer back then. It turned out that Junsu was afraid the incident would affect Hyun-suk's future. Not long after, Junsu also went to see the prosecutor and said that his younger brother had accidentally killed that young master. If Hyun-suk had known that the man was dead, he certainly wouldn't have run away from the scene. To verify the truth truth of Hyun-suk's words, the prosecutor used a lie detector. The test results proved that Hyun-suk truly didn't know the young master had died. Then, the prosecutor said that although Jun-soo had always insisted he was the killer, that statement could not be considered valid evidence to prove he was guilty. Therefore, the prosecutor advised him not to use the law to hide his feelings of guilt. At that moment, Hyun-suk's face was covered with tears of remorse. When he came outside, he told his older brother, who had been waiting for him for a long time, that his statement could not be considered intentional murder. Hearing that, Jun-soo hugged Hyun-suk tightly. A little while later, the two of them returned home. After everything that had happened, Nari tried every possible way to take care of Hyun-suk, which made him feel embarrassed. When it was time to sleep, she even wanted to sing a lullaby for him. That also made him cheerful again. On the other side, Ju-young told the chairman about Hyun-suk's story. The chairman then questioned Do-zi, asking why she hadn't informed him about it. Do-zi explained that Jun-soo had always been hiding the truth, and now she no longer believed in this love. This man, in order to atone for his sins, had given up his career as a prosecutor and gone to work at a construction site. When his brother found out, not only did he not stop him, but he also joined him at the construction site. However, since Hyun-suk had never endured hardship before, he tripped while climbing the stairs. Fortunately, Jun-soo, who was behind him, caught him just in time. After that, the two worked together in perfect harmony. Unexpectedly, the two brothers spent their days working as laborers at the construction site, and their nights selling goods on the street. Although every day was full of hard work, Hyun-suk felt very happy. One day, while they were working at the construction site, Jun-soo's bracelet accidentally broke. It was the keepsake that Do-zi had given him. He immediately jumped down to retrieve it, but luckily, Hyun-suk managed to pull him back in time. The other workers quickly rushed over to help as well. Fortunately, everyone managed to pull Jun-soo back up. After saving him, the two brothers hugged each other and stood there for a long time. That evening, the two of them searched together for the beads from the bracelet, but no matter how hard they looked, one bead was still missing. At that moment, Ju-young also arrived. Seeing the beads in Jun-soo's hand, she asked if they were from Do-zi's bracelet. Hearing that, his younger brother finally understood why Jun-soo had jumped down. In the end, with Ju-young's help, they successfully found the last missing bead. When Jun-soo saw that all the beads were found, he was as happy as a child. Then, a worker came over and told Ju-young about what had happened earlier that day. After hearing it, Ju-young widened her eyes and looked at Jun-soo. That night, Ju-young went to Do-zi's room. She grabbed Do-zi's hand and noticed that her bracelet was gone. Then she told Do-zi that Jun-soo had nearly lost his life because of that bracelet. At that moment, Do-zi realized how important she truly was in Jun-soo's heart. The next day, the two brothers continued their job delivering goods. Do-zi also drove there and watched Jun-soo working from a distance. When she left, Jun-soo noticed her and immediately ran after her, because he knew this was his only chance. From the rearview mirror, Do-zi saw Jun-soo running after her. Her heart felt complicated, and she didn't know what to do. She remembered the time before when Jun-soo had also chased after her car, so she softened and was about to stop. However, when Do-zi looked back, again, she realized that Jun-soo was no longer there. Panic surged inside her. She was afraid something bad might have happened to him. The memories of the past flashed through her mind. Jun-soo walked down the street, crying. Suddenly, Do-zi stopped her car by the roadside and ran back to look for him. Finally, among the vast crowd, she found Jun-soo. Jun-soo expressed his wish to start over, but he didn't know how. This was the only way he could think of. This was the real Jun-soo. Looking at the man standing before her, she decided to start over with him. So she reached out her hand to introduce herself, saying that she was Na Do-zi. After a long time of waiting, the two of them were finally together again. Not long after, the day of Jun-soo's appeal trial arrived. 10 years ago, he had taken the blame for his stepmother's son and gone to prison. Now, it was the day of the retrial. The younger brother deeply regretted his actions, so he apologized to both the judges and his brother. Jun-soo also felt remorse for his foolish thoughts of wanting to protect his younger brother. After 10 years, he finally realized that this was not the right way to help him. The judge then announced the final verdict on the murder case from 10 years ago. The defendant, Jun-soo, had been sentenced to 12 years in prison, but the prosecution's results declared him innocent. With the sound of the judge's gavel, Jun-soo's murder record was officially cleared. Although this vindication came 10 years too late, it had finally arrived. After the trial, Do-zi took Jun-soo to meet her grandfather. She told him that she intended to marry Jun-soo. The chairman couldn't understand his granddaughter. Just a few days ago, she had wanted to break up, yet now she wanted to get married. He asked Jun-soo how he had managed to change Do-zi's mind so completely. Jun-soo replied that he had thrown a tantrum in front of her. Hearing that, Do-zi looked doubtful, but the chairman laughed. happily and agreed. After all, everyone in their family liked Jun-soo. Smiling, he said that it would be wonderful if Ju-young and Hyun-suk also got married. Meanwhile, Jinju was talking with Nari. They were preparing a surprise for their eldest brother. Shortly after, Jun-soo received a phone call from Nari, asking him to bring Do-ji home. That night, as the two were happily walking home, they were stunned by the sight before them. It was a display of all the paintings Jun-soo had created from childhood to adulthood. Then, the two continued walking along a red carpet, admiring each painting one by one. For the first time, they saw the stepmother, a woman who felt like an angel to them. The final image showed the family happily working and playing together with Nari. Then came the last painting, on which was written, "This is our brother, and we will run toward him." As soon as they opened the door, the scene before them moved them deeply. The entire space was filled with a romantic atmosphere. Even the staircase was lined with candles. The younger siblings stood before them, tall and kind-hearted. They said that their foolish older brother didn't know how to propose when in love, and they hoped their future sister-in-law would understand. Then, everyone handed flowers to Do-ji. Jinju took out their mother's bracelet and said that it should be returned to its rightful owner. Seeing this, Jun-soo stood frozen, unsure what to do, his feet rooted to the ground. Fortunately, Hyun-suk pulled him forward and pushed him to kneel in front of Do-ji. At that moment, Jun-soo came to his senses and confessed his love to Do-ji. He had officially confessed his feelings. This was the day they confirmed their love, and Do-ji accepted. Then, he took a necklace and gently placed it around her neck. Their younger siblings had prepared fireworks and launched them toward the sky above the couple. A happy smile spread across Jun-soo's face. He had waited for this moment for so long. Today was the happiest day of this man's life, and his long-awaited happiness had finally arrived. When the door opened, Do-ji appeared in her wedding dress. Amid the applause and cheers of family and friends, she walked toward the man she loved. Jun-soo looked at the beautiful woman before him and smiled joyfully. Then, the two of them began their vows. They promised to take each other as husband and wife, to love, respect, protect, and trust one another for the rest of their lives. Afterward, they exchanged rings, officially becoming husband and wife. Seeing his younger siblings and friends, showering them with blessings, Jun-soo never imagined he could ever be this happy. That night, Do-ji waited in the room wearing a seductive nightgown, expecting Jun-soo to return. But unexpectedly, the one who came was Ju-young. She smiled brightly and said, "You're back already." Ju-young almost burst out laughing. Then she turned on the room light and told Do-ji that Jun-soo was still outside talking with Hyun-suk. Do-ji, embarrassed, waved her hand and said she understood, telling Ju-young to leave quickly. Not long after, Jun-soo returned to the room. Seeing her dressed so seductively made him hiccup in surprise. Then he quickly ran outside to calm himself down. But as soon as he stepped out, he realized his nose was bleeding. He wondered if he had gone crazy, because he couldn't understand why he was acting like that. Meanwhile, after returning to her own room, Ju-young called Hyun-suk. She complained that the couple had just shown off their love in front of her. Hyun-suk could only laugh when he heard that. The next day, during lunch break, Do-ji and Ju-young planned to have coffee together. However, as soon as Ju-young entered the elevator, Do-ji told her she had something urgent to do and couldn't join her. Ju-young had no choice but to go alone. When she reached the 7th floor, the elevator stopped. As the door opened, she saw Jun-soo standing outside holding a board that said, "The first time I met you, I didn't recognize you. I'm sorry." Then, when the elevator reached the 5th floor, there were more boards with confessions. "At that time, you made me smile once again. Thank you." Finally, the elevator arrived at the 1st floor. Filled with excitement, Ju-young stepped out and walked toward Hyun-suk. Hyun-suk was holding the last board. Gathering all his courage, he confessed to her, "I love you." Ju-young was so moved that tears streamed down her face. Then, Hyun-suk knelt down and held out his hand. Ju-young placed her hand into his, and Hyun-suk slowly slipped a ring onto her finger. After putting the ring on, he stood up and said, "Although it's just a simple ring, I used all my savings to buy it. Before we get married, you can wear this one for now." Ju-young replied that she didn't need another ring, because this one already gave her complete happiness. Finally, with everyone's blessings, Hyun-suk successfully proposed to Ju-young. That day, everyone sat together in front of the TV to watch Nari's award ceremony. Not long before that, Nari had won the Best New Actress award for her performance. The whole family felt overjoyed for her. Chul-soo even stood up in excitement, while Nari gave her acceptance speech. First, she thanked Do-ji and Jun-soo for becoming family to her. She also didn't forget to mention her second brother and sister Ju-young, who were about to get married. Finally, she spoke of the sister she loved the most and thanked her for raising her from childhood to adulthood. Finally, she mentioned her eldest brother. Although her second brother might feel jealous hearing this, To her, her eldest brother was both a father and a mother, and also her very soul. Then, she made a gesture that only the two of them could understand. The people around had no idea what it meant, but they all raised their hands to show their love as well. Suddenly, Jinju felt a sharp pain in her stomach. She was about to give birth. Everyone quickly rushed her to the hospital. Outside, Dozy and Ju Young could hear her heartbreaking screams of pain, and they both became terrified of childbirth. One of them even exclaimed that she would never have children. Du Zi, who had once planned to have 10 children, now changed her mind. Hearing that, Junsu was left speechless. Nari also said that she would never get married, and both of her older brothers nodded in agreement with that decision. Not long after, Jinju gave birth to a baby boy. Nari praised the baby, saying he was adorable, but Junsu said the baby looked ugly. The mother-in-law then asked if everyone knew the legend, that the goddess of childbirth would take away all the beautiful babies. Junsu recalled the moment when his mother gave birth to Nari. She had once said the same thing. It turned out that when Nari was born, Junsu said his little sister was beautiful, and his father scolded him, saying that a newborn should be called ugly so that the goddess of childbirth wouldn't take the baby away. There was no denying that Nari was truly blessed to have such a loving older brother. After that, everyone went to the hospital room to visit Jinju. Junsu praised his sister, saying she was such a wonderful mother. At that moment, Chulsu entered the room in tears, saying that their child was incredibly handsome. He was immediately scolded by his mother for saying that, which made everyone burst out laughing. Time passed. Quickly, 3 years went by. The whole family gathered in the yard. Junsu now had a daughter of his own. Jinju's child had grown up, and Hyunsok's wife was pregnant. Nari had become a famous star. In the end, they all splashed water and played together just like in their childhood days. Bright smiles spread across everyone's faces. But my own face was already covered in tears. It truly was a touching story, wasn't it? Thank you for watching, and goodbye.